of Ottawa library students. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak with you today. As Thomas said, my name is Shauna Miro. I'm a graduate of the MacEwan Library and Information Management Program in Edmonton, circa 1992. I'm speaking to you today from Edmonton and respectfully acknowledge that I'm located on Treaty 6 territory, a traditional gathering place for diverse Indigenous people, including the Cree, Blackfoot, Métis, Nakota Sioux, Iroquois, Dene, Ojibwe, Saulteaux, Anishinaabe, Inuit, and many others, whose histories, languages, and cultures continue to influence our vibrant community. I spent my entire post-grad career working in law firm libraries until retiring-ish in the summer of 2018. As Thomas said, I work for Alexi, which creates legal research memos using artificial intelligence. And as you can imagine, with a startup technology company, I am the only legal information specialist on the team, the only librarian on the team. I think it's really important just on that to make sure that our information specialist voices are proliferating through a wide variety of organizations. So I retired to work for a technology company. Actually, I didn't retire to work for a technology company. I retired to travel. Sadly, I didn't get to do much traveling this year. Go figure. As a legal information specialist, I've been a member of the Edmonton Libraries Association, which is a local meetup group that does some professional development, and the Alberta Association of Library Technicians. Local and provincial groups that support you in your profession offer networking opportunities and are important resources during your career. I've also been a longtime member of the Canadian Association of Law Libraries, Association Canadienne des Bibliothèques de Droit, and I'm very proud to serve as the president of CAL SABD. There's more information about CAL at our website, calsabd.ca, and I hope what I share next will encourage you to visit our site and explore further. CAL SABD is dedicated to promoting the networking, professional development, and career growth of legal information specialists in Canada, no matter where they work. We exist to promote subject specialization in legal information and knowledge, to provide a community for members working in legal knowledge, information, and innovation to share ideas and provide professional development. And we also exist to protect and defend access to legal information. So those are some pretty big goals, and I'm just going to break them down for you a little bit. So we promote subject specialization in legal information and knowledge by offering education programs like a week-long institute that gives new professionals in law libraries who don't have law degrees a foundation in legal topics so they can research effectively. We also create a schedule of Library Congress classification that is specific to Canadian law. We call that KF Modified. And we produce an open source, peer-reviewed journal. You can read the Canadian Law Library Review either on our website or through CAMLI, a site you may be familiar with that disseminates Canadian laws as well as legal commentary. We promote subject specialization in law because we know that in many faculties, both in the Master of Library Science program and also the library technician programs in Canada, there aren't always legal subject specialty courses that you can take. We provide a community for members working in legal areas because although you might not have an interest in legal information while you're in school, it may be the only job you can get after your practicum when you've just put your rent on visa. I may be speaking from personal experience. I'm an accidental law librarian. I didn't actually intend to work in law libraries. I thought I would be reading stories to children and running a children's program in a public library, which is what brought me to study library science in the first place. Strangely, working in law firm libraries is not entirely different from working in public libraries. I hear some chuckles. You may think that's funny, but it's true. So wherever you are in libraries, you're always dealing with a population of users who come to you because they have a need. Maybe it's a need to escape their house and go to a safe place in a small town public library. Maybe it's a reason to not be bored in the summer, so you join the reading program. And maybe it's because you feel like, as a very new lawyer or a law student, that you should have paid more attention in the legal research course that was taught in your first term, first year, and you were thinking that you are going to drown without some help. So, all that said, the community of members that I've found through Call SABD has been very important to my career. And what we do to provide a community for our members working in legal areas is by supporting special interest groups within our membership. So we have special interest groups of members who work in private law firms or in courthouse libraries or in academic law libraries. We also have special interest groups who gather to do work in diversity, decolonization, and Indigenous matters, or who gather together to work on copyright as an access to justice standpoint. So we give our groups access to resources like Basecamp, which is a collaboration service for document sharing, and Zoom, so that our call members can gather and share ideas even when we can't gather physically. Call has an annual conference in May every year. And this year we were very proud that we were able to pivot to a virtual conference. We offered the conference free to anyone at all, anyone. We had folks coming from attending our Zoom conference from all across Canada and all across the world, particularly colleagues in the US. We made the conference free to everyone because we thought it was a good opportunity to promote the idea that law librarians are innovative and capable of shifting and pivoting as business needs arise. So we did record all of our conference sessions, and we make those conference sessions available to any members, including student members of CALL. We expect to have a virtual conference again in 2021. Actually, we don't expect to. We know we will because we're deep in the planning of it right now. Our conference theme in 2021 will be out of the box, and it will focus on how we're dealing with librarianship as we are all working through the box, doing work from home. And it'll also talk about technologies that we can create out of the box with legal information, and it'll be quite fun. I hope some of you will join us, or all of you will join us, actually, is what I hope. We do host webinars throughout the year as well. And we recently offered a webinar on writing in plain language, which for us in legal is a skill that is sadly lacking. So we thought we'd work on that from the librarian perspective and filter the knowledge up through our organizations. When I say that Call SABD protects and defends access to legal information, I'm not exaggerating. In 2019, we intervened in a copyright case called Terranet versus Keatley before the Supreme Court of Canada, and part of our brief on Crown copyright was adopted by the court. We're proceeding with an intervention into another copyright case that will be coming up before the Supreme Court of Canada called York University versus Access Copyright. I'm thinking that you'll probably be discussing this in your time at University of Ottawa. We seek public access to legal information as access to justice. And as librarians working in legal knowledge, information, and innovation, access to justice is something that we support, of course. We take and make opportunities to share our standpoint on copyright and other topics that relate to legal information at every opportunity. Like most library associations, we have a student membership. Our student membership fee is $15. That's 1-5, pretty small. And our membership year starts in January. I just got my renewal notice in my email this week. Our regular membership for CAL is $170, which, as a longtime member, I think I've received $170 worth of value for every year of my profession, including into retirement. There is also a retired member fee, which someday I will take advantage of. A CAL membership makes a great Christmas gift, so tell your special people to visit calsabd.ca and help you join us. That's all I have to say today. Does anyone have any questions for me?
Thank you very much, Shauna. That was really interesting. We do have a few minutes for questions, but just to make it a little bit easier to manage, I'd ask that you enter them into the chat or use the raised hand function.
And Thomas, I'm on my mobile device because I'm actually volunteering at a casino for our community league. Why we are having casinos in Alberta with our COVID situation, I'm not entirely sure. I have my mask and I've doused myself in sanitizer, but I can't see all the raised hands, so I'll rely on.
I'll make sure to handle that.
Thank you. Please ask me any question you like. Even how's the weather?
While we're waiting, how is the weather out there in Alberta?
It is a normal, chilly winter day here. I was happy to park in a garage where I don't have to brush snow off my car.
Excellent. So we do have a question from Lily, who asks, why should new graduates go into law librarianship?
So from a purely financial perspective, I can share that working in a law firm library allowed me to retire quite early. Unfortunately, a Master of Library Science degree is sometimes seen as the best thing to add to any other degree if you want to make less money. Not that financial reasons motivate many of us who find ourselves enmeshed in a career in information sciences, but the pay is quite good. The other reason is, and this is what kept me in law libraries, because as a library technician, my pay was not good for much of my career. What kept me in law libraries was an abiding academic interest in legal topics. So I don't have a law degree, but legal information is intriguingly complex. It's very, very interesting. And even though some of the reference questions that I handled during my career were recycled, they were the same question as the year before with a slightly different nuance. The research is super intriguing and interesting. So 1 minute you'll be researching for an insurance company if they are required to pay the full amount under a disability policy when a year ago someone cut off their finger at work and then the next year they cut off their whole hand. First of all, personally, I think they should pay the person because clearly they're not capable of doing that job, and cutting off your limbs is traumatizing. But you'll be researching the nuances of that, and the next day you'll be researching the nuances of the eugenics program in Alberta that unfairly targeted people who were thought to have lower intellectual capacity by sexual sterilization. And looking in a scrapbook Hansard before there was a recording of the legislative discussion, and relying on newspaper clippings from the 1920s to pull background information to make a case for your clients. or you'll be looking at copyright issues that the Supreme Court is deciding and trying to help your clients make arguments of why the legislative landscape should change. So it always felt like what I was looking at on behalf of the lawyers that I worked with really mattered to people. It wasn't an intellectual interest for the clients. It was really an important thing that was going to matter to their life. Even a simple real estate transaction that had a research arm, it mattered to people. It mattered to their livelihood, to their family situation, to their personal interests. It was, it felt like my work had an impact on people's lives. I'm sure you could say that for any professional services area, and also for any branch of librarianship. What I found fulfilling was the intellectual scope of the topic of the research area. Plus, my undergrad is in classics and philosophy, and it was the only way I was ever going to use the Latin I studied at university, my undergrad.
Thank you for that great answer. And unfortunately, we will have to keep this moving because we do have a packed schedule. But for those who have asked questions that we haven't had time to answer, please hold on to those. And hopefully, if there's a few minutes at the end of the session, we'll be able to have general questions for all the presenters. But thank you very much, Shauna. That was wonderful. And I encourage everyone to check out the Canadian Association of Law Libraries website as suggested by Shauna. And if you're looking for Christmas present ideas for your classmates, this could always be one. Donc, il est maintenant le temps pour notre prochaine présentatrice, Hélène Carrier, qui est aussi présidente de l'Association des bibliothèques francophones de l'Ontario, aussi appelée l'ABO-Franco. En plus de son travail pour l'ABO-Franco, Hélène est bibliothécaire universitaire associée, apprentissage et services aux usagers à l'Université d'Ottawa. Bienvenue Hélène, welcome Hélène.
Bonjour, bonjour tout le monde. Je suis très contente d'être parmi vous et je remercie Thomas de m'avoir invité. Thomas, j'ai une petite présentation PowerPoint, puis-je ouvrir
oui,
mon
vous devriez pouvoir partager votre écran. Vous êtes maintenant co-présentatrice. Merci Lily.
Okay. OK, one participant. OK, alors je suis en train de faire ça là. Share screen. OK, bon. Desktop. Open système préférence. Attends, je cherche. Attends, oui, évidemment.
Donc, au bas de l'écran, le vert Share Screen.
Je vais le trouver, Thomas.
Ouais,
ça vient. Il faudrait d'abord que j'ouvre ma présentation. View. Slideshow. Got it. Play from the start. OK. OK. Bon, où en sommes-nous? Desktop. Open. France. Attends, non, je réussis toujours pas. J'essaie encore. Share. Desktop 1. OK. Non, j'arrive pas. Bon, bien, écoutez, je vois pas où trouver comment faire ça. Alors, screen recording peut-être. File. C'est pas ça. Bon. Qu'à cela ne tienne. Alors, donc, je remercie Thomas de m'avoir invité. C'est un sujet qui me tient vraiment à cœur. vous parler de l'importance des associations dans votre parcours de futur bibliothécaire et professionnel de l'information. Donc, peu importe l'association auquel vous choisirez d'adhérer, j'espère que ma présentation, comme celle de mes collègues, va vous donner le goût de vous impliquer, de prendre part à la vie associative pendant vos études et dès le début de votre carrière. Je vais vous parler aujourd'hui plus spécifiquement de mon rôle, mon implication comme bénévole à l'ABO-Franco, comme présidente de l'ABO-Franco. My presentation will be in French, but please feel free to ask me your question in English or in French. Donc, pour commencer, qu'est-ce que l'ABO-Franco? Alors, ça signifie tout simplement l'Association des bibliothèques de l'Ontario-Franco. C'est une des 7 divisions de l'Ontario Library Association. Et ma collègue Michelle Arbuckle, un petit peu plus tard ou après moi, juste après moi, va vous parler de façon plus détaillée de l'OLA. Alors moi, je vais simplement vous parler de la division ABO-Franco. Donc, c'est une association des membres du personnel francophone et francophile qui œuvrent dans le domaine des bibliothèques publiques, scolaires, collégiales, universitaires, gouvernementales, et qui ont à cœur la langue française et la culture francophone en situation minoritaire. Donc, si on se compare aux autres divisions de l'OLA, on est une petite division, on a à peu près 200 membres, et puis on a donc de milieux variés, de toutes sortes de milieux, et tout autant bibliothécaires que bibliotechniciennes ou personnel de bibliothèque, là, vraiment à tous les niveaux. Alors, pourquoi est-ce que l'OLA a créé l'ABO-Franco? Vous savez peut-être que l'Ontario a la plus large communauté de francophones hors Québec au Canada. Donc, sans être une province bilingue, l'Ontario, le français a un statut de langue officielle en Ontario, par exemple à l'Assemblée législative, dans les institutions d'enseignement, devant les tribunaux. Donc, bien que l'OLA ne soit pas une association bilingue comme telle, elle a créé l'ABO-Franco il y a 25 ans, en 1995. Si on se rappelle, les années 80-90 ont été des années mouvementées du point de vue des affaires francophones, de la francophonie. On n'a qu'à se rappeler justement qu'en 1995, c'était l'année du 2e référendum sur l'indépendance du Québec. Et ici à Ottawa, d'où je vous parle, on a été impliqués dans le mouvement SOS Montfort. Donc, en Ontario, il y a une loi sur les services en français qui est entrée en vigueur dans les années 90. Et même si cette loi-là ne s'applique pas comme telle aux bibliothèques, elle a quand même entraîné tout un mouvement, tout un intérêt, toute une obligation, en fait. Et il y a une loi, par contre, qui est la loi des bibliothèques publiques d'Ontario, qui, elle, stipule que les bibliothèques doivent s'appliquer à fournir des services en français lorsque cela est opportun. Alors, donc, c'est un petit peu, si vous voulez, le contexte dans lequel l'ABO-Franco a été créé. Pour représenter ces bibliothèques de l'Ontario-Franco. Alors, qu'est-ce que c'est qu'une bibliothèque de l'Ontario-Franco? Il n'y a pas de définition comme telle. Qui sont nos membres? D'où viennent-ils? Comme je vous l'ai mentionné, ce sont des milieux variés. Il y a des gens de bibliothèques publiques, scolaires, collégiales, gouvernementales. Mais ce qu'elles ont en commun, c'est qu'elles offrent des services, des collections en français. On a des services bilingues. Par exemple, la Bibliothèque publique d'Ottawa, elle est officiellement bilingue. Alors, si vous allez sur son site web, ses collections, ses services sont tous offerts en français et en anglais. La Bibliothèque publique de Vaughan, en banlieue de Toronto, d'un autre côté, elle n'est pas bilingue, mais elle offre toute une série de ressources, de programmes pour apprendre le français. Et elle a embauché 3 bibliothécaires, dont des finissants de l'ISI, pour concevoir et fournir ces services-là. Plusieurs bibliothèques de l'Ontario français sont situées en zone rurale et en zone éloignée. On n'a qu'à penser à la bibliothèque de Hearst, d'Embrun, de Sturgeon Fall ou de Hawkesbury. La bibliothèque publique de la ville de Toronto, cette année, a fait beaucoup parler d'elle avec sa collection de livres en français. Si vous avez suivi ça la presse francophone, on en a beaucoup parlé. Elle avait l'intention de retirer des 125 000 livres de sa collection en français. Il y a eu tout un tollé, donc il y a eu vraiment un mouvement et finalement, en fin d'année, cet automne, on apprend que le budget de collection va être doublé et qu'on a embauché quelqu'un pour voir au développement des collections en français puis de la programmation. Donc, les bibliothèques de l'Ontario français, francophone, c'est vraiment des milieux très, très variés. Alors, quel est le but de la mission, les buts de l'ABO-Franco, de notre association? Voir à ce que les bibliothèques reçoivent l'information en français et voir au marketing des services en français. Un de nos buts, c'est de regrouper les membres des gens qui travaillent dans les bibliothèques francophones et francophiles parce que la province est immense et les gens sont non seulement dispersés géographiquement, mais souvent sont aussi isolés. Donc, un de nos rôles, c'est d'améliorer la qualité des services qui sont offerts en français, d'assumer un leadership dans le développement des services, de servir de source d'information, de liaison avec les autres associations professionnelles qui s'intéressent à ces questions-là. On organise, nous aussi, comme ma collègue, des ateliers de formation, une journée congrès dans le cadre du congrès annuel de l'OLA, qui s'appelle la Super Conference, qui d'habitude a lieu en janvier, février cette année. En 2021, ça va être évidemment une super conférence virtuelle. Et on a, nous, un volet francophone durant cette super conférence. Alors, comment fonctionne la gouvernance de l'ABO? Donc, comme toutes les divisions de l'OLA, on a un conseil qui est composé de 8 personnes. On a une présidente, vice-présidente, des conseillères, des conseillers. On a même un conseiller étudiant qui, en ce moment, cette année, est un étudiant de l'ISI. Alors, toutes ces personnes-là sont bénévoles et sont élues. Il y a aussi une organisatrice qui est chargée de développer la programmation pour le volet francophone de la superconférence. Le mandat de nos postes est de 2 à 3 ans généralement. On se rencontre par vidéoconférence et on a notre assemblée générale annuelle qui a lieu durant la superconférence. En plus, la présidente, moi donc, et la vice-présidente de l'ABO, on est membre du comité directeur d'OLA. Donc, on fait partie des réunions du board. Et ça, c'est extrêmement intéressant. Donc, ce sont des rencontres auxquelles on participe maintenant de façon virtuelle, mais avant la pandémie, on allait à Toronto à tous les 2 mois pour participer à ces rencontres-là. Alors, tous les règlements de l'association sont disponibles sur notre site web de l'OLA de l'ABO et vous pouvez les consulter. L'ABO a plusieurs dossiers. Plus concrètement, pour vous donner un petit peu une idée de mais qu'est-ce qu'on fait? On a nos objectifs stratégiques sont vraiment en lien avec ceux de l'OLA. Donc, ça tourne autour beaucoup de l'éducation, de la mobilisation, des partenariats et de la recherche. Pour vous donner une idée, par exemple, donc j'ai déjà mentionné le fait qu'on est responsable du volet francophone de la superconférence. L'OLA a aussi un programme de lecture très, très populaire qui s'appelle la forêt de la lecture, Forest of Reading. Alors, l'ABO a été l'association qui, en fait, a incité et a aidé l'OLA à développer le volet francophone de ce programme-là, qui est un festival de la forêt de la lecture. Et donc, ça, c'est vraiment pour promouvoir la littérature jeunesse. C'est tout un programme en collaboration avec les écoles primaires, les conseils scolaires. Alors, on a aussi milité à l'ABO pour une réduction des coûts de participation pour les bibliothèques rurales et éloignées qui ont moins de 5 000 résidents dans leur communauté pour vraiment rendre la participation à une superconférence plus abordable. On voit évidemment à s'assurer que certains documents clés de l'OLA sont traduits. Donc, en gros, on incite, on encourage, on aide l'OLA à s'assurer qu'il offre une programmation en français et à communiquer autant que possible avec ses membres en français. Le thème de la superconférence, par exemple, qui s'en vient, On a aidé à traduire ce thème-là. Ça va s'appeler Esprit brillant et cœur bienveillant. On a aidé à concevoir une affiche bilingue pour la semaine des bibliothèques publiques. Et on contribue des articles en français à la revue d'OLA qui s'appelle Open Shelf. Alors, il va y avoir un article, par exemple, qui va paraître en décembre. J'ai fait une entrevue avec le nouveau vice-recteur aux études de l'Université de l'Ontario français pour connaître les plans pour leur future bibliothèque. Alors, ça va paraître bientôt. Donc, toutes sortes de façons d'ajouter du contenu français à l'OLA et d'appuyer le secteur des bibliothèques qui offrent des services en français. Je vous ai mentionné tout le rôle de liaison qu'on a, des liens avec, par exemple, l'association au Québec qui s'appelle la Fédération des milieux documentaires, la FDM. Ils ont un congrès annuel auquel ils nous ont invités à participer gratuitement. Ça a eu lieu il y a 2 semaines. Et eux, en retour, vont participer à la super conférence. Bibliothèques et Archives Canada ont créé un réseau national, un réseau des bibliothèques et des archives qui desservent des communautés de langues officielles en situation minoritaire. Alors, nous, on fait partie de ce réseau-là. Et on était invités la semaine prochaine à une table ronde avec le ministre Stephen Guilbeault pour parler des enjeux de notre communauté, les enjeux, les solutions possibles. Alors, toutes sortes de façons pour nous de faire ce qu'on appelle en anglais « advocacy », de la plaidoirie, encore une fois, pour être les champions de parler des enjeux de la communauté, de voir comment on peut faire progresser, trouver des solutions. Alors, comment est-ce qu'on devient membre de l'ABO-Franco? Tout simplement en étant membre d'OLA. Donc, le coût d'adhésion pour les étudiants est de 20 $ par année, 5 $ de plus que ma collègue. Ça aussi, ça fait un super beau cadeau de Noël. En étant membre, vous pouvez, votre liste est non seulement ajoutée à un bulletin, vous pouvez participer à toutes les activités, mais en plus, vous pouvez vous présenter au poste du conseil de l'ABO-Franco dont je vous ai parlé. Vous pourrez participer à notre AGM. Et donc, ça vous permet non seulement d'être un membre d'une association, mais vraiment, puisqu'on est une petite association, vous pouvez même vous impliquer dans le conseil, puis voir vraiment comment les choses se passent de l'intérieur. Donc, pour conclure, je voudrais vous dire que les associations, une association comme l'OLA et ABO sont vraiment des associations qui sont créées par et pour leurs membres. Donc, elles sont très précieuses. Il y a beaucoup d'associations au Canada qui sont des associations auxquelles on adhère de par notre institution. Ce sont des associations auxquelles vous pouvez participer sur invitation, comme par exemple l'Association des bibliothèques de recherche du Canada, la BRC, CARL, c'est seulement les directeurs de bibliothèques. Mais l'OLA et l'ABO-Franco, tout comme l'association CARL dont parlait Shona, sont des associations de membres. Alors, elles existent parce qu'on y participe. Et s'il n'y a pas de participation, elles cessent tout simplement d'exister. Alors, ça, c'est vraiment précieux. Donc, je veux dire, moi aussi, tout au long de ma carrière, j'ai participé à de façon multiple à la vie associative. Je vous dirais, ça vous permet de vous créer un réseau, de vous faire connaître, de développer des rapports personnels avec d'autres collègues que les collègues de votre milieu de travail. Ça vous permet de vous développer professionnellement et de vous pratiquer à jouer d'autres rôles. Vous allez voir ce qui se fait ailleurs. Vous allez être au courant des tendances, des enjeux, puis vous pouvez influencer les décisions puis avoir vraiment un impact dans votre communauté. Ça vous permet de bonifier votre CV, mais surtout, c'est extrêmement gratifiant. Alors voilà, c'est tout ce que j'avais à vous dire sur l'ABO-Franco. Je vous remercie beaucoup, puis moi aussi, je suis contente, si vous avez des questions, de prendre vos questions.
Merci beaucoup, Hélène. C'était très intéressant. Et j'encourage tout le monde, encore une fois, à visiter les sites web et considérer devenir membre. Mais on aura Michelle Arbuckle prochaine qui pourra nous parler un peu plus en détail de l'OLA. Alors, peut-être pour garder les choses aller, on peut prendre une question s'il y en a une. Alors, je regarde le chat. Donc, semblerait qu'on n'a pas de questions pour le moment. Alors, pour garder les choses aller, peut-être qu'on peut passer à Michelle Arbuckle. Et s'il y a des questions et du temps qui nous reste à la fin, on pourra faire ça à ce moment-là. Donc, next up, we have Michelle Arbuckle, who is here on behalf of the Ontario Library Association, or OLA, where she is the Director for Member Engagement and Education. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Helene, for your work. I was going to say, can I just say ditto and then log out now? But no, I won't do that. Thank you for your talk. Hi, I'm from OLA. My name is Michelle, and I have been with OLA for about 11 years now. I have been a graduate from library school since 2002, which feels approximately like 74 years ago, but it was only 18, so here we are. And just to start by saying, when I was in library school, we had, a similar talk like this where people came. I remember specifically from CLA, which is a now defunct organization, national organization. And at the time, I didn't know what kind of library I was going to end up in. I had very grand aspirations of an Ivy-covered academic situation where I would be tolling away. Music was my background, so I was looking for something in a music library. And but I joined at the time the national organization, CLA, and OLA because I had attended Super Conference and had just kind of experienced the buzz of that event and getting to meet other people. They weren't necessarily specific to the job that I was looking for or the job that I was doing, but they were both really good opportunities to meet other people. I wrote a book review for what was then the publication of CLA called Feliciter. And I just got involved in some of the opportunities that they had for students, which was really great for me at the time. And then once I graduated, I was in a hospital library and I became involved in some of the more medical library associations, consumer health library associations, things that were more niche and specific to the day-to-day I was doing. But all this to say, no matter my job or what I was doing, I've always found associations to be a great place to get experiences that I wasn't having in my job. So as a librarian, I've almost always worked as a solo librarian or in a very small library where I didn't have a lot of other library professionals around me. And belonging to an association and participating in association events really helped me to get more experience professionally presenting and also chairing committees, working on different committee projects and events and that kind of thing. So I would say if you get anything out of these talks, don't be bewildered by the number of options out there. Just take a look at what might interest you and start getting involved and finding out what kind of opportunities there are for you. Even if it's just a matter of, sitting in on a committee meeting and see what people are talking about, I think you'll find it interesting and you'll see what's kind of out there for the future of your work. It's also just a great place to meet people in other sectors. When I was a hospital librarian, I probably would have never met someone like earlier from a law library or from a more specialized, smaller library. So these are great settings to do that and to just increasingly build your network. And I will also say, if I hadn't been involved with OLA, I wouldn't have got the job that I did at OLA in the future, which I don't think gave me a leg up necessarily, but certainly I wouldn't have been aware of it and I wouldn't have had the experience to get me this role that I now love so much. So all of that to say, yay OLA. We are to get back to my notes, so the largest library association right now in Canada. We have 5,000 members, and we do, as Helene mentioned, run the largest library conference in Canada, which is coming up at the the beginning of February now. We've pushed it a little bit, and that is known as the OLA Super Conference. The people that we have in our membership include anyone from librarians, of course, library technicians, of course, teacher librarians, authors, library trustees, students, of course, and friends of libraries. So we have membership from basically anyone who has even a passing interest in libraries all the way to chief librarians, university librarians, people running very large systems. I am going to share my screen for one quick minute. Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, definitely. And you should be able to, you're a co-host of the meeting.
I have the power. Okay. So what you're seeing right now is just our the homepage of our website. And I'm going to take you quickly so you can see an overview of the number of different divisions that we have in the organization. So this actually isn't updated because our most recent division that we have recently brought into OLA is our Health Libraries division. And that is an amalgamation of the organization that used to be OHLA. So now we have OHLIA. Have you noticed how much we love acronyms? Libraryland loves acronyms. There's a prize at, no, I'm kidding, there's no prize at the end. So these are our association divisions right now. Of course, Hélène spoke to ABO-Franco. We also have ABQLA, which is our division for academic librarians, academic interests. OLBA for those who are trustees or sit on public library boards. OLIDA, which is our technology division, which, you know, seems kind of a strange thing to say, I realize, in 2020, who isn't dealing with technology, but these are people, it's kind of been a catch-all association division. I was always a member of OLIDA. It's actually our free division if you're a member of OLA. They do a lot of just talking about different platforms and different ways to use technology and systems and that kind of thing. OPLA, of course, our largest division is the Public Libraries division, and OSLA is our School Libraries division. I'm also just going to hover over here and show you the number of different events that we have as part of the association. I mean, we have an event for almost any broad subject area you could imagine, and we're always adding more. So the one that actually just occurred last week was our Child and Youth Expo, which we moved to a virtual platform, which went swimmingly. We also have Annual Institute on Library as Place, which talks about the space of libraries, how we build libraries, what we consider space and how we use it. It's our space planning conference. Our Copyright Symposium. Digital Odyssey is our technology conference in June. ABO-Franco has a number of different events, including the Journée. Marketing Libraries Think Tank has been a one-day marketing event. ABQLA has a couple of different conferences throughout the year that are academic focused. RA in a Day is for Readers Advisory. And then of course we have Super Conference and our Education Institute webinars. I'm just going to show you that in case you haven't seen. If you're not aware of the partnership, it's something for you to be aware of. You probably have seen it because it's where the job board is, which is just over here. The partnership is essentially a relationship between all of the major library associations in the provinces of Canada and the territories. So there are, you know, representatives from each of those areas, and we come together on certain projects, including this partnership website where we host a national job board and the Education Institute, which is a platform, an education platform where we host webinars. You're learning all the time right now. I realize the capacity for extra is limited, but I wanted to make you aware of, let's see if I can quickly find it. Did I bookmark it? Apologies for the scroll. Okay, I cannot find it quickly, but I will find the link and share this with you. We have a series in the Education Institute called Bright Young Minds. And it's a series where students like you can present a 20 to 30 minute webinar on a topic of your choosing. And it really is an opportunity to give you exposure in presenting. And also we are aware of the fact that you being in school and learning about these topics every day are kind of on the cutting edge of the research that's out there around some of these topics. So it's an opportunity for us who have been out of school for a while to get educated on a topic that, that you are learning about and that you know more about. So if you're interested in doing something like that, I would recommend there's a contact EI button right here. My colleague Destiny runs the EI program and she would be happy to talk with you about that. The last thing I'm going to mention here is the Super Conference, the OLA Super Conference. So as I alluded to before, it is the largest conference in Canada. We generally have about 5,000 people in attendance. We are going virtual this year, excuse me, and we might even reach beyond the 5,000 mark. Yesterday, I just sold an institutional pass to Calgary Public Library, who's going to send all 600 of their staff to the conference. So we're at a point right now where we're able to reach outside the province and we're able to reach staff who have never been able to attend before, which may extend to you if you've never attended the OLA Super Conference before. There's certainly not a lot out there to replace the buzz that I think you feel in person. We're all going to miss that this year. It's going to be hard to replicate. But the information, the education that happens at the conference, the keynote speakers that we bring in, even some of the social elements will be there. And I think it would be, wonderful for you to attend. I think that you would get a lot out of it. And if you're interested, we would love to have you. In previous years, most years, we actually provide a lot of volunteer opportunities for students at the Super Conference. Unfortunately, that won't be possible this year, given that we're virtual, but we do still have some really great student pricing for the conference and opportunities for you to engage with people. So this is just to say we're putting more information up next week, but the overview of the schedule is here on the website. I believe that pricing for students is $50 right now, and or sorry, when it opens next week, that's what it will be. And the membership. So the other point that I wanted to make was student memberships. Typically student memberships are $20 for OLA, but for people for those students who are graduating in 2020 or 2021, we're extending free membership given the circumstances that you all find yourselves in. We can certainly appreciate that. Resources are tight right now. So if you're interested in joining OLA and you're graduating this year or next, please do reach out and we'd be happy to extend a free membership to you. I will put the name of my colleague in the chat here so that you can get in touch with Melissa directly. I see a question. Can you tell us a bit about your advocacy programs and opportunities to participate? Just to confirm, Michael, can you specify, do you want me to talk about opportunities to participate in advocacy? Advocacy programs, yes. I'm not the advocacy officer, but I do know that government relations is a major part of what we do at OLA. And we certainly liaise with the provincial government and report. We don't report to them, but we give reports to them on the work that we do, promoting libraries and making sure that MPPs are aware of the importance of libraries in their communities. We do an annual event, actually, sorry, biannual, where we bring our board to Parliament Hill and we have a day where they meet with parliamentary parliamentarians, and they each get, it's a very quick speed dating round where I think they get 5 to 10 minutes depending on the interest level of the parliamentarian. And it's just an opportunity for them to connect, to talk about the libraries in their communities, to answer any questions, usually to dissuade some possible illusions they might have about libraries, or some misinterpretations about what libraries do and the benefits we have to their communities, the society as a whole. So we do a lot of work at that level. If you're interested in joining advocacy at that level, that right now I believe is restricted to our board, but we certainly do have an advocacy committee that you would could inquire about being a part of. We don't right now have a student voice in that, but that's certainly something we could explore. We're always open to student voices in our committees. And I think that's it for advocacy. The font sizes. Do the font sizes of the OLA division acronyms mean anything? No. We love fonts. Who doesn't love fonts? We're actually in the middle of a rebrand, if that helps. But no, the fonts do not mean anything in our website.
Well, thank you very much, Michelle. That was quite an interesting talk. And to keep things moving and try to hold our promise to have you all out of here by not too late after 3:30, we'll move on to our next speaker now. So thanks again, Michelle. So next up, notre dernière présentatrice, Sandy Hervieux, qui est présidente de l'Association des bibliothécaires du Québec, or the Quebec Library Association. En plus de son rôle à l'ABQLA, Sandy est bibliothécaire de liaison à l'Université McGill. So welcome, Sandy, and I understand you've got some slides to share, so please feel free to go ahead.
All right. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. It's so nice to see you. It's nice to see Michelle and Ellen, too. I know them from my time at OLA. So I have a couple of slides, not too many, just so we don't forget some important points. I know you're probably all sick of slides on Zoom, so I'll make this brief. And feel free to ask any questions in English or French. I can answer to both. But yes, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about ABQLA and then why it's kind of helpful to get involved in these organizations. So to reiterate that OLA is awesome, you should totally join, because that's kind of how I got started too before I came to McGill. I was in Ontario, joined OLA. And for those of you who may be interested in academic librarianship, any institution where you may have to get tenure or there's a tenure process, that community work of being part of an association and contributing to it contributes to your tenure dossier. It's actually a really important component of it. So it's good to get a start early. That way you can kind of feel around, join a few, see which one speaks to you the most. And then if you want to take an active part in it, you can. So I'm going to just share some slides with you about ABQLA. I have a couple of points. So ABQLA, like we said, is in Quebec. It's the Quebec Library Association. It's been around for a while, and the goal is really that it's bilingual, it's nonprofit, and it's really to provide a network of mutual support for education, advocacy, and communication. And we're trying to promote library information specialists, so technicians as well, and their institutions in the greater Quebec community. And how we do that, well, we've been around since 1932, so quite a while. And we also have a few sections, much like OLA. So we have 5. So there's cataloging and technical services, college and research libraries, public libraries, our youth and school library section recently joined, and then we have a student chapter at McGill. The nice thing is that you can join all of these if you want, and there's no additional cost. So you can join however many you want. So if you're not sure if you want to be like an academic librarian or a public one, well, you can join both sections and then attend events across all of them. And some of the benefits for students is that it's free. So even if you're in Ontario and you're not sure if you're going to come work in Quebec, or even if you won't, as a student, it's free to join. When you get a job, it really goes by like salary ranges, but right now is the time because it's going to be free. And we also offer a $500 student scholarship. And little hint, not actually that many people apply for it. So you actually have quite good odds. And it does come with free attendance to the conference. So that's another perk. We have an annual conference. Sadly, we had to cancel the last one in May because of COVID, but we are going to hold it this year. And I will tell you a little bit more about that. So as a student, you get quite a good reduction on the rate to attend the conference. It's usually a one-day conference. We also have a mentorship program where you can be paired with a librarian in the field that you're interested in. I've been doing these for 3 years and they're usually a lot of fun and you get to meet a lot of good people. I still keep in touch with a lot of my previous mentors from different associations, so definitely worth it to think about that. And really the main thing that we do is we have a lot of section events. So usually it's fun, we kind of get to all meet up and discuss libraries. Right now we can't, so we're having them in person. We're having them on Zoom, not in person yet. Most of them are actually free, and especially with the Zoom model, they're all free. We had, for example, recently our fall kickoff event, which was a library trivia night, so that was quite fun. Our public libraries section put together a webinar and discussion about power and like power dynamics in libraries. And then we had Spice Up Your Research for college and research libraries, where people were able to hear from kind of researchers and their experience and how to do library research. So that was really interesting and well attended. There's a lot of opportunities to get involved. So each of the section have vice presidents and presidents. So those are kind of good ways to get your feet wet before you get to the executive board. We also frequently have some working groups that you can join. So for example, we have a diversity working group that's working, that especially now has some very interesting mandates and things they're working towards to kind of make the profession a little bit more inclusive and diverse. So that's been really interesting. And again, it's free, so not much to lose really. And then our annual conference, like I said, sadly we had to cancel it, but it will happen next year. So it's already scheduled for May 14. It will be online, so the cost will be reduced from what it usually is. And for students, like I said, it will be an even like smaller fee than for someone who's graduated. And we may have a call for proposals coming out. So we're trying to see who of our previous presenters wants to come back, right? Since we had to cancel it. And then we may open it up again. So that can be a good opportunity for you if you're doing any kind of individual research projects or posters maybe that you may want to present to people. It's a really good way to kind of get started with that research project and that research process as well. So I've put together our contact information. So there's the website, the president website. You can also contact me at McGill if you want. That's probably the easiest ways to use my McGill email address. But I've gotten a lot out of just, not just being the president of ABQLA, but I'm able to do this because of all the different roles I've had in associations throughout time and all of the different opportunities that they've given me. So I would really encourage you to get involved, whether it's OLA or ABQLA or any of the multiple Canadian ones that we have. It's a really good way to kind of meet people in the field and figure out what your interests might be. Are there any questions? Hopefully I kind of hit everything you might be interested in.
Thanks, Sandy. I think that was a very thorough presentation, and you've hit the mark for perfect timing. So 3:29, we have 1 minute if anybody has a quick question that they'd like to ask Sandy. But otherwise, I will say thank you, everyone, for joining us today, especially to our 4 wonderful speakers. Merci beaucoup de toute l'information que vous nous avez partagée aujourd'hui. I'd encourage everybody to investigate these different organizations, find the one or all of them that fit your interests, and try to join. As many of our speakers have discussed, there's some advantageous rates for students. Allegra has also shared a survey in the chat. If you could please all take a minute just to provide a bit of feedback, that would be very much appreciated. And thank you all for taking the time to join us out of your busy day. Donc, merci encore une fois à tous et à nos présentateurs et bon restant de journée.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.